Hi everyone, it's Norman Kochnick here on Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. Watching now India are 2 for 212 and Joe Root bowling, which says something to me that they're starting to dig deep into their bowling attack to see whether they can get wickets. We're fast approaching the 80th over, which would see a change of ball into the new ball, I would assume. Virat Kohli is there, and so is Pujara. So that's very healthy situation here in the innings to be able to have two batsmen that have certainly been out of touch. And one is just it's quite impressive actually with obviously the batting of Rohit Sharma and Rahul was particularly impressive to start with, and then of course Rohit with Pujara. It's quite impressive indeed. They've come back to make this game of it. Who's coming to the post show? Buck or Dada? I've got a few coming on. I'm hoping Chris Burnham will join. And if Tucker says that game is well alive, it certainly is. You'd have to say that without a doubt. I mean, you would have to expect this, considering the ground has certainly flattened. Luck's gone, you would argue, more India's way. The Kohli's 45 now, Pujara 91 now. Here we go. Pujara 91 gets a century here. He's not being dropped. There's no way he'll get him dropped. And Kohli's looking for a 50 and hopefully a century. So it's certainly, you can't deny this is well alive. Relaxation and meditation. Hello, how are you? Pereira Sachi, what a day for India. It has been a very important day. And he has made really interesting comments tonight. Do you think England helped Pujara by giving him some boundary balls early? No. And then going off the field at 3:18. So I'm assuming because they were taking a new ball that they called for bad light, I'm assuming. So 83.2 overs has been bowled today, 224 runs, 4 wickets, 2 being India's. And there it is. Pujara's particularly happy, and so is Kohli. Pujara's on 91. This is fantastic. The man has certainly come back in the nick of time. So am I reading the comments? Of course I can't just read your comments. I'm going to be able to talk as well, guys. I'm not a comment reader the whole time. I'm going to be able to provide the whole update. So just stop saying it. So Jay Gungle, don't say reading comments. How many people that you know that are commentating actually do every single thing? They don't. I actually do. India just needed to play 20 overs with new ball, and the game was totally live. Now England's still very much favourites. Yeah, there's no doubt that England's still very much favourites, but here we go. Rohit Sharma was LBW bowled Robinson today for 59. So I'm impressive again for Sharma. Rahul got a good ball called by BSL overs for 8. But then Pujara 91 and Kohli 45. Tremendous partnership indeed. This is a really making it clear that it's not just England's way that India. So Anderson's bowled 19 overs for no wicket, which is pretty significant in the scheme of things. Ollie Robinson's got the 1 for 41 overs and 1 for 35. Then Karen, Ali, and Root have not taken wickets. Root bowling 6 overs, that was not expected. He was not expected to be needed for that purpose. They've got 5 other bowlers on the side. You would think that would be more than enough. So going to Root says it all. So 2 for 215. So India 139 runs behind. Now, can you imagine if they appears that they'll get rid of that? Black Panther. Okay, but still England in the front, of course. Next punt to go crazy tomorrow. Well, Rahane is actually next, and then there's punt. This is I think someone like Bajar can go extremely big now. He can certainly go very, very big in his innings. So what a day through! It certainly has brought the match back to a fairly good situation. England clearly still in the front. We know that. Need a double 100 for Pujara. This is going to 100 first, guys. Garrett Bankler is going to 100 first. If India scores 500, then India have a chance. Well, look, even at this stage, even though things are going really, really well, England would be the favourites to win this. India are no illusion they'll win the match. But this is an important recovery. And Rohit Sharma, his 59 today was invaluable. He, to me, showed a lot of ability as a test batsman. I think that really, he's really impressed me, Rohit Sharma. Pity he didn't go up to 100, but his 59 here again was extremely important. He's the leading run scorer for India for this calendar year, and second only as a brute for the whole year. So you've got to give him a lot of praise. And Rohit Sharma, to me, has impressed me no end, and really has given a lot of heart to this. Now, Pujara, when it was needed most, is out there and he's running on. He's better resolutely. Kohli's been there as well. These two can get centuries. We're looking at a much different situation. England are favourites going to day 4. Of course they are. They certainly are. There's no doubt about it at all. India have learnt from their mistakes quickly, looking good, batting here at the moment. Manchester favours England, yes, I guess that for sure. Seeker, unlock it. Told you, look at Joe now playing straight, bat in an initial stage and back in form, looking safe against incoming ball. He's batting well. Tomorrow is expected to be a sunny day, which can only favour India. Robert Sang says, yeah, Norman, it will be turn on day 5, and they will win. Well, that'll be truly fantastic if they do. Now they're all very happy yesterday. They kind of expected that, seeing how England batted, that India should be able to bat equally as well. But what a turnaround. Don't forget that they were all out for 78. Now they're 2 for 212, I think the score was. It's just amazing. Chalk and cheese, really. It's just, Rohit Sharma looked very decidedly unhappy when he was out. But what a partnership between, really, again, Pujara at first job's getting 91. This is all the talk about Pujara being rocked has just gone. It's 2 for 215. India are likely to get well over 400. They would like to get over 500, to be honest. But let's have a look here. Just let me look at the partnership. So the 4 wickets is 1 for 34, and the second wicket fell at 2 for 116. So effectively, this partnership now is just shy, 1 run shy of 100, which that means Pujara's been involved with 2 pretty much 100 partnerships. He got a close to 100 partnership. Well, yeah, in fact, 800 partnership with Rahane in the previous tests, second innings, and in this second innings, he's had the 99-run partnership, close to 100 with Kohli, and a lot more to go, a lot more to come. There's no doubt about it. You have to praise the batting. They've come back well. A lot of people expect them to be either all out today or I think the prediction, who was it gave me a prediction? I think it was earlier. In fact, Gurkharat Gill gave me a prediction to be 5 for 250. Well, he's wrong. It was 2 for 215. It wasn't too far total wise, but wicket wise, he's not right. So that is incredibly important to see that sort of scoreline. Again, the team getting out for 78 to get 2 for 215 is quite a turnaround. Just shows the wicket has changed. You can definitely say that. And the fact that James Anderson, who bowled brilliantly in the first innings, I'm not saying he hasn't bowled well today. He's gone for 2.68 and over off 19 times 51. So certainly not ineffective, but not as effective as he was in the first innings. So this is quite remarkable. So I'll just wait and see who we get. I'm just going to see whether I can muster out some other people here. I think Param Marani actually said that he'd be coming. Just going to get a bit of an interest from I'm just trying to see if I can get I would have expected a few people to be here, but the reality is that there'll be a lot of press writing up some good stories about India. This is what India needed to make the series look a lot closer than it is. In fact, realistically, trailing by 139, if they don't lose it, they get maybe one more wicket down and pass the score, let's say, they're going to be in a pretty good situation to make a fist of this. It's all about time now. They've batted for 3 days, so India have to bat the full day tomorrow to actually look at a lead of around. They're trailing by 139, they may be in front by 139 tomorrow, with a day to spare. They could make it interesting. And England would not like to have to score 200 plus or thereabouts, 200 with two to 3 sessions, 2 to 2.5 sessions to go. They wouldn't be exactly excited about doing that, I'm pretty sure. So, although it's a long way from that at this point. It'd be harder, yeah. What a day for us. Thanks to Pujara, Rowett, and Kohli for their stellar batting. Still a long way to go, but I'm optimistic that we can take a lead of 200 maybe. Pujara saved his place. Well, I'm sure the Indian selectors and the Indian hierarchy of Shastri and Kohli were not really looking forward to that decision, and were not expecting it. And look, he looked very solid. He's looking at his shot selection territory. He was well on top. He started the ball well on both sides of the wicket and started to pull the ball up when the ball was short. In fact, that was interesting. When the bowlers started to lose their way, the bowling became shorter and shorter. And both Kohli, look, Pujara has too much class. Let's say he gets 100. He's 91 now. He should get 100. No, this is certainly putting him in good stead. And Rahane, I wanted to catch him to him. Then a guy like Punt can escalate the innings towards the end with Rift Jadeja. This took a little batting to come, and they got a very good situation to be in. Yeah, it is true. Abhishek, you hope they continue on that. I'm pretty sure that you'll find that Pujara will not be letting his wicket go easily. You'll probably see him bat long tomorrow. As long as he gets through the initial stages tomorrow, he'll have a difficult start at 91 not out, and then first few overs, hopefully the wicket will be in a reasonable favour. Then you'll have a situation that they can really cash in. The pitch has definitely become better as the match progresses. There's no doubt about that. There certainly has been an improvement, but let's not take away from the fact that psychologically India were extremely down in this match. After only having 78, they were some 354 behind on the first innings. That is ginormous. If they lose perhaps one wicket more and go past the 354, they are effectively in a very good situation. The side has scored another amount of runs. The longer the match goes, the more likelihood of results. Well, it is a very difficult thing to predict that they will win the match at this stage. Still heavily in England's favour to win the match, but they've made it much more even. It really comes down to India scoring 500. They'll need 500 to make the England bat against a reasonable score. Kohli's reaching his 50 after a long time. That's true. Well, he hasn't reached his 50 yet, has he? All I expect from Indian team is to show the intent and character that they could come back and take this line into the next game. Yes, and I think that's great. They're going to do probably a bit more than that. Prediction still is that England will win the match. Still, a prediction has to be that at this stage. If India can bat like this on the fourth day, then you may see England start to worry. But I think, don't forget, with remembering the days of VVS Lakshman and Rahul Dravid, they were able to turn a match like this. Well, this is not a follow-on, but it certainly was. It is a match where they were 354 runs behind. The first thing, 354. That mentally is scarring, but it hasn't scarred in the end of, still going well. Now, look, it doesn't mean that you can't, collapse relatively tomorrow and then, be all that under 354. That could happen, but you'd see it was unlikely. And I'm more impressed with Rohit Sharma today than I am with Pujara. Why? Because I think their stage that he needs to get through as an opener, yet again, with a 50-odd plus score, the consistency of Pujara, of Rahane is, not Rahane, sorry, of Rohit Sharma has been incredible. Rough bowling by Sam Curran, he looked great. Anderson 19 overs, no wicket. This tells about the batting friendly this wicket. I agree. Anderson was missing his length. Well, yeah, he did, but I mean, he is a great bowler, so you can't knock. 1 wicket at any moment will shift the momentum towards England. Possibly. Eyes on cricket will also be eyes on Rahane now. Yes, I mean, the wicket, the catch that took Rahul was a magnificent catch by Bear, and off over. So that was a really important catch. And catches do win matches, but it hasn't been significant enough. Great delivery. Obviously, Sharma got out to an LBW, which could happen at any stage. The review of one of the decisions, I think it was in favour of the batsman, an LBW decision which they called very, very late, and one case where Root also actually decided too late, and that may have been out. But that's the way the cookies crumble, so to speak. Virat Kohli and Pujara will be making a double ton tomorrow. Well, the main thing is they get centuries. That's what the first target is. Anything above that's going to be a bonus. LBW was a pure bad luck. Yeah, it was. Who could argue? Or it needs to get daddy hundreds and tests. I wouldn't be knocking Rohit Sharma at all. And the way that he handled the bat, the way that he batted, it was just absolutely phenomenal. Really, under the circumstances, behind by so much, it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Let's have a look here. Under the circumstances, behind by so much. How are you, Param?
I'm fine, Norman. How are you?
I'm very happy about the way that India have gone about their business today. It's been a true fight back. By no means finished yet, but it certainly is a true fight back. This hasn't really. You have to argue the way that all the Indian batsmen so far have been great. Even though Rahul got out for 8, the way that he and, of course, Rohit Sharma opened the batting was fantastic. Rohit Sharma, there's people saying, "Oh, why didn't he get a century?" I don't think that's what's relevant here. He opened the batting magnificently and looked incredible. It's a pity he didn't get a century, but he is the star batsman of the Indian tournament so far, even more so than Rahul, because he's consistently there for a long period of time, occupying the crease. Regardless of how many runs he gets, he's batting like a true opener, which I'm quite shocked about, because I didn't think he had this temperament, but he certainly has developed it. He now will be the opening batsman for India as long as he wants. Not only because how many runs he scores, but the way that he bats. Do you agree?
Yeah, correctly. Means till the most recent time I've seen, like, okay, maybe he was not, but he's definitely eating up the balls, which is one of the prime duty of a opening batsman, to make sure that the opening 1 hour of the day is negated. So at least I've seen that, okay, if he has not scored a big run every time, at least he has not gotten out cheaply, and he has been very reasonable. Out of all the batsmen I've seen, he has been very, very consistent, which is something really good.
Oh, look, it's amazing, actually, because what amazes me is it's not his typical game. He's much more aggressive. He has probably become more suited to the short version of the game, having been a T20 champion with Mumbai Indians as captain, and his ODI form has been amazing. And he was always, someone who would not just occupy the crease. He's showing another facet to his Matt play. It's amazing. I don't know who he's been mentored by, because I'm pretty sure someone's got in his ear, and I actually thought it was Pujara. I think Pujara was, there to help him along, and if that's the case, it just shows the value of Pujara. Pujara is just, Pujara's yet again pushed everybody aside.
I think today everybody is saying that Ashwin helped Pujara, because before Pujara came here, they were showing, Ashwin was talking with Pujara, and they are saying that Ashwin guided Pujara. And really we saw completely transformed Pujara today. But let me tell you, today's stage was set for Pujara's comeback. Means this was, you could have seen my comment in your pre-show earlier, like the way this was set up. I very knew in my heart of hearts that this was set up for a Pujara comeback. Means this is typical Pujara stage or performance where you need a person to bat it out. Runs are really not important. Many people are talking about run rate, but honestly, I was not even looking at the runs. The only columns I was looking was the overs and the wickets, which both went beautifully today.
Now, there's been some interesting comments here as well that Innings should target 650. That's a hell of a lot. I don't think that's going to happen. There was a comment here a minute ago. I think it was from. Let me have a look.
It can, Norman. Don't. I would say I wouldn't be surprised if 600 plus India end up scoring because the only thing these two guys have to make sure. See, one thing Joe Root did very smartly today was made sure he bowled the spinner so that tomorrow morning they will get the new ball. So India needs to, and especially I've seen Kohli and Pujara very susceptible to the early morning. We say, oh, they need to do, and next day in the first or the second over they got down. So fingers crossed. Hope I'm not jinxing them, and they pass out the first phase tomorrow, the first 30 minutes, 1 hour, and then definitely. And this ground is also small. It's not a very, especially cross side. This ground is small, and scoring rate will also improve. And
but 650 is too much. That's far too many runs to expect, I would say, to be really honest with you. I mean, if they get close to 500, that would be extremely impressive. But 650 is a bit much, because if they do get 650, they'll bat out not only tomorrow, but the next day after, which they're not going to do. They're not going to have enough time to get 650 because they've got to get 400 in 2 days. I can't see them. I mean, I'd love them to be that much, but I don't think they'd want to go that far, because 650 means they've got a 300 lead. That's probably too much.
I'm looking at 600 plus, but if I believe they would at least bat till half of the first session of day 5 if tomorrow touchwood goes well.
Oh, I've got no doubt if they're going to bat long, they probably will go into the 5th day, yes. But I think that would mean 500, not 650. That's all I'm saying. 500 is a bit. Like they're 215.
I would put it this way, that if tomorrow the first two sessions goes good, India not losing, let's say they lose 2 more wickets for 2 sessions and they are able to add, let's say, 200 runs, 180, 200. Last session, you could have a person like Pant, Jadeja, and given the ground, given the ball not moving, you can see a completely different Pant also. And let me tell you, like, moving on tomorrow, if they negate the 1 hour, England's field will also move from a defensive field to from an attacking field to a defensive field, for sure.
Oh, I've got no doubt, but I think 650 is a bit much. That's all. But I mean, anywhere around 500 means they've got a lead of close to 200, which is probably going to be enough on a 5th day. Look, let's not forget, 1 test ago, England couldn't get more than 120. I don't think they're going to be that bad this time.
The previous lead was 354. So they need, if you're talking about 200, then indeed they need to be 550 plus.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't think they're going to get that many runs. That's not being negative. It's being realistic. I think that's a really dramatic. Tim Wilton Davies says this innings shows the wicket is flat. Well, it certainly has become flat. And it makes India's first inning look even worse. That's true. India's first innings was a bit of a shock, but it's that classic aberration. We've had it before from India where they scored 36 and they turned around very quickly. It's almost as if it was the innings that India needed to have to catapult their next stage, and they didn't become complacent. And it's impressive enough. And I think there's an attitudinal difference in India this time around with their performance compared to, say, when was it, 4 or 5 years ago? When was it, 2014? When they were basically in a different situation, a similar situation. Then they didn't come back, but they've come back nicely. Let's take it session by session. Let's get them from 2 for 215 to well over 300. Knock off England's score and then start talking about any lead, because still they're 139 runs behind, and I'm afraid to say anything can still happen. You don't expect it to, but it could.
as of this moment, England still holds all the cards. Means they are still on top. Like as I told you,
Okay.
tomorrow morning, fingers crossed, because you just need a one bad 5-10 overs where you lose three, and it's I think it would be a loss match for India. So, uh, so definitely like tomorrow's as a 30, that first 30 minutes, 1 hour is very critical. But honestly, the way I looking, if India go this and let's say they bat till fifth day, let's say 1 hour of fifth day, then I would say India would then be in the leading and would because they will completely demoralize the England batters mindset, and you can see a repeat of Lords. I
Well, I
won't
mean,
be surprised on that.
the very fact that the biggest indicator to me was the fact that Joe Root was bowling. Having Joe Root bowling is quite incredible because they've had, they've got 5, you would argue, top line bowlers in the England side. For them to need a 6th player to bowl,
I think
not a good sign.
Joe Root bowling was a tactical decision because the umpire said that you can't bowl fast bowlers, and he wanted to finish off the overs and get to 80 overs. So like tomorrow morning, they can immediately take a new ball.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why they brought Joe Root on. The fact that he's bowling at all is a major sign to me. To have to go to Joe Root, regardless of the overcast conditions, still he didn't just bowl 1 over. He bowled several overs.
Yeah.
So
and he had a couple of very good balls also in that. Joe Root, but I'll tell you, Joe Root should actually improve his means concentrate on morning bowling, and he can actually be a good all rounder. His bowling, he very underrates himself.
Yeah, but it's intriguing over the years. Captains that end up bowling a lot, it doesn't last very long. What I'm saying is Steve Waugh or Alan Border, they were bowlers and they became less and less of a bowler. I don't know whether they should be relying on Joe Root to bowl. They shouldn't be. They should have enough bowlers. If they go to Joe Root, it's a sign of some sort of desperation, I believe. Okay. And I mean, look, and other people are saying 650 scores. Let's not get too carried away, guys. I think it's way too early to be talking about 650. First and foremost, get rid of this 139 without losing 1 or 2 more wickets. Then anything other than that is a position they were not expecting to be in. No one could expect them to be in front after being behind 354 runs. Okay? We have to first be realistic and get rid of that 354. And 139 is still relatively a long way away. If they lose a few wickets.
Yeah, if they lose 3 wickets and bundle up, then it might become that England have to maybe not even chase anything or chase some very few runs. So that's it. That tomorrow's first session is very critical. I hope I'm not jinxing it. I hope Pujara goes to a big 100 and Kohli also reaches. Kohli needs a 100, and this is the perfect stage for him. I don't think he'll get a better stage to.
Again, you've hit the nail on the head. You've just said what is relevant here. You've actually said that they got to, they've got to start the morning as if they're on 0.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They've got to start the morning. I mean, the fact is that this partnership is 99, which is a great partnership. It's not yet a great. It's a good partnership. It's not yet a great partnership. Kohli's 45 not out. He could easily get out very quickly tomorrow morning due to a good delivery. Let's be ready for that. Let's be ready for this, that they really need to now. What they've done today is made a fight of this, which is impressive. They could have easily capitulated and been all out by, or not all out yet, but close to all out, and we would have been sitting here in a rather gloomy perspective. The fact is we're not. We're in a position where, they've actually resurrected this innings dramatically. Pujara certainly has resurrected his career. We were talking about him. And look, I'm going to be really honest with you. I didn't really want to see Pujara go anywhere. Okay, I only had, with the weight of commentary, we had to consider a replacement for Pujara. But Sky is not ready to replace him. Agarwal certainly could, and Vihari certainly could. But this is the importance of the Indian selectors. They are sticking by those that are worth sticking by, and they're finally proving their way. Pujara's taken a long time, but he's back. He's back. And well, let's hope Kohli goes on to a century. If these two make centuries, we've got a massive turn in form of the Indian batters, okay? Rahani's still to play. Rahani in the first innings was quite respectable. He didn't do that badly under the circumstances with Rohit Sharma, considering the rest of the team failed. I'm pretty happy with things.
Rane does bad only on the ball that he gets out.
Yeah.
The ball that he gets out, he does something ridiculous, which really was not required to be done. At least that's what I've seen Rane in the last many innings.
And look, and this is Samarth Raj he's right, just hoping he doesn't lose by innings. That's still not erased.
It's still a possibility.
They've done a great job so far, and don't take me wrongly. I don't think this will happen, but even if India were to stumble tomorrow and they were to either get out for less than the 139 required or just a bit over, it's still an impressive return for the next test. It's not the end of the world. We mustn't forget this is a 5-test series event, okay? And there will be moments when the momentum will shift, and it has shifted to England. It's being resurrected by India now, but it's still in England's favour, you would argue. And England wouldn't be too worried at the moment because they know the ground's flat now. But look at Pujara. In his 91, he scored 15 fours. That shows
that this is very unlike Pujara. This is like we are getting a rising from the phoenix, a phoenix rising from the ashes. We are getting a better Pujara.
Again, we can't forget the man has scored 18 test centuries. If he gets 100 here, this will be his 19th test century. That's pretty damn good. And on top of that, he has got 6,000 plus test runs. He's not to be sneezed at. Virat Kohli, albeit he certainly played quite measured today. He looked quite solid. He was still measured. I think tomorrow. This is it. The first hour tomorrow is extremely crucial. First hour to 2 hours. If they get through the new ball, if these two get through the new ball, happy days. It'll be quite a situation. I'm afraid I'm expecting one of them to get out. Not because I don't want them to go well, but have to be realistic.
I'm expecting a punch show also because till now we did not see that, which was very highly expected. And in this match, till now we are getting what we are seeing.
So, can you imagine if Punt goes out and scores a run of ball 100? That will put England in a bit of a concern point. We mustn't forget that England only got 120 in the last Test match, and up until almost that fourth day, England again were, you would argue, in a pretty good position, weren't they? We were talking on the fourth day of the Lord's Test about, can India get enough runs? Can they get 200 to make England bat? Blah blah blah, and they got 270 or whatever it was in front. We were talking a little bit more carefully then. We would argue that after the fourth day at Lord's, England were still in front. Correct. So if India can get 200 tomorrow, 250 tomorrow, let's say, for the day's play, that would mean that they are going to be 100 in front. That would still be a little bit in England's favour, a little bit, okay? Still be. Almost identical to the Lord's Test. Intriguing, isn't it? Very
India
intriguing.
Tomorrow, Norman, I'll tell you for sure, it will be minimum 280, 290. If India play the whole day tomorrow. Minimum 280, and won't be surprised if it would be 320, 330. If India play the whole day tomorrow.
Yeah, and let's not. I think we've got it again. I can't remember one of the commentators. I'm not sure who it was. It could have been David Lloyd. I'm not sure. One of them was talking about. In fact, it was Nasser Hussain. I think he said that it's session by session. Don't look any further forward than a session by session. And I think, that's certainly what Pujara will be doing. Pujara will look ahead no further than the ball in front of him. That's what's really important. So at this stage, it's session by session. If they get through tomorrow,
funny, the Indian commentators were saying you take it over by over, each like Anderson's spell or this guy's spell, so take it spell by spell, not even session by session, which is actually more correct.
Now, this is true. The umpire's call should always be better than doubt for the batsman. I agree. I think that's a fair point because, a lot of people say to me that, oh my God, the fact that it hits the stumps, whether the edge of the ball or the middle of the ball, it's out. That's a fair point. I understand that perhaps umpire's call maybe in some cases be rather frustrating for a bowler, because they're still hitting the ball trajectory, is still hitting the stumps, despite being only at the edge of the ball. But I think that's a fair way of doing it. You can't really do it any other way. I think it's a fair, although it's not conclusive, it's still fair. If India not lose any wicket after passing the trail, should Kohli bat a little bit faster? Well, he will naturally bat faster. But I don't think...
I didn't get the question.
Well, if India don't lose any wickets, so they're 2 down when they get past the 354, okay? Should Kohli then bat a bit faster, do one more miracle as they did in the Lords? Well, of course he will increase the run rate as he gets on and runs, for sure. But I don't think he'll think that way. Quite frankly, they need not only get the next target is to get past 139. Then the next target is to get 50 in front, 100 in front. It's not about the speed of the innings. It's
correct.
They need to. They cannot be in a position to win this match until they've batted out at least the 4th day. And even then, even batting at the 4th day means they're only about 100 in front, which is an incredible position to be in. Incredible position to be in. But it's not a winning position yet.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? They've got to be. This is important for India to go session by session, or even hour by hour, and have targets. And I know we're looking forward to 650. We're looking forward to the 5th day. We're looking forward. They're not going to be thinking that at this point. Pujara's going to be looking at the next ball, not even getting his 100, just the next ball, the first session, second session, and so on. And that's the key to. It's probably, I'd say without any doubt, that Pujara bats that way. There's no doubt Pujara bats that way. He bats the next ball in mind. He doesn't bat for the rest of his target would not be being there on the 5th day at this stage. His target would be the next ball, because he, quite frankly, is a very, very, very... The more a batsman concentrates, the more he's concentrating on the next ball. Do you understand what I mean? And even more importantly is, if he's played a bad ball the ball before, that will be relevant to him. It's the next ball. And that's the beauty of Pujara. He can do that. He's one of the rare batsmen in history that can do that. He would have looked at his numbers. He would have scored when he was not scoring runs. But I think he had the steely character to know if he's given the chance, it'll happen. And it has. Amazing. Really amazing. You know, we all said that's it for him. If he doesn't score today, that's it. Well, he has scored. And don't forget, he's scored 45 in the last innings of the second test. He's got to do it more in the first innings, there's no doubt. His first innings batting efforts have been atrocious. I think he's got single figures in all three. You know, he's
not just average, even the balls faced. He's not in doing that, at least face the balls.
Yeah, I never had any. Honestly, I was his supporter all the way through. I think I told you that they shouldn't change this side, even though the weight of discussion yesterday was to change the side. And Pujara, I just couldn't really see who Pujara would be replaced by. Only Vihari has got that long-term batting mentality to replace him. Agarwal's a great player, but I don't think he's got the same mentality. And Sky's too early. So really, Pujara is hard to replace. Let's be honest.
Sky is too early. The very, like, if you are waiting for Pujara to retire, then it will be too late for Sky. It will be the other way around. Anyway.
It's the frustration of the Indian batting is in terms of the depth they have. But some of these people are going to wait a long time. Prithvi Shaw, for example, will have to wait. Agarwal must be fuming that he got his injury before that first match.
Yeah,
he must have been, because he was lined up. He could have had a big series. He could have opened the batting, got runs, cemented his spot. But now Rahul,
it's way of life. One person's loss is another person's gain. So.
It is true. It's all about, but it's all about one thing: taking your opportunity when you get it. And you would argue that Pujara's been given an opportunity today, and he's taken it.
No, I had a premonition, also today. I thought if England has to win, they will win it today. If England don't win it today, then India will win on Sunday. So fingers crossed. Let's hope this happens.
Let's get past England's score. Then we can talk about anything beyond that. And I know it's very difficult sometimes for a batsman or even a bowler or a fielding side to think of anything other than the ball that they're bowling or facing. The reality is this is extremely important, and there's no doubt that Rohit Sharma was not thinking about anything other than batting long, and he did that. We've got to not underplay Rohit Sharma's innings. He's not as many runs as what Pujara is, but Rohit Sharma's innings was extremely important. He let balls go again. Amazing.
And he played a beautiful part in terms of shielding Pujara initially also. So given that, so his role is also. There was also an interesting stat shown in like the match. I was watching the Tamil version. Anyway, I don't understand that, but they were showing an interesting stat that for the same initial overs which India batted in the first inning, and the fall shot or the control percentage for the batsman was exactly the same. In fact, it was slightly more. In the first inning, it was 49% of fall shots being played, whereas here it was 51%. So, what I'm trying to say is that there was a matter of luck also over here. That in first inning they were taking the edges and going, whereas here it was not happening.
Well, the most intriguing thing was two things. The way KL Rahul, just before the DRS went out, got his decision reviewed. He could have easily missed that. He would have been out. He didn't get many more runs, but still it was important. And then on top of that, what was it? It was who was the person when the route missed going for the decision?
Rohit Sharma. He was out. He would have taken it.
That was where the luck changed, definitely, because both were extremely close to going the other way around, and they both went the way of India. And that's where you got to take your hats off to this effort. Really, you do. It was quite important, and I think that was luck plays a major role. There's no doubt about that. It certainly has and look, it would have been good. It would have been good if Pujara would have reached his 100 today and Kohli got his 50. That would have been extremely important for me. Why? Because they're going in tonight quite happy with their position, but it could become undone very quickly tomorrow morning. Because no one can tell me that Pujara and Kohli are not thinking about 150s. They are thinking about that. They are milestones.
In fact, I would say, Norman, one way it's actually good that they have their personal thing also, so they'll be more cautious tomorrow morning.
Yeah, tomorrow morning is another day with a new ball. James Anderson didn't have any luck so far in this innings. Hasn't bowled as well, but he can come out with a new ball tomorrow and take 2 quick wickets. So we've got to give him respect for his ability to do that. This is his home wicket. It's not just his home wicket as in this ground, but this is his country. So this is where he's at his best. It's like Ashwin at home. We've got to give that respect to him. He can turn the match around yet again. The fact is that England are still in front. England are still in front.
Sizably in front.
Yeah, I think being 139 in front with the team losing 2 wickets is still sizable. It's a long way from, foregone conclusion. So, and that's probably a good thing for India because they're having to really fight this out now. I mean, if they don't lose a wicket to get past the score, that'll be a miracle. Honestly, that's a huge ask.
India should see 2-3 positives on. See, if they even bat tomorrow out, that means England bowlers would be ending up bowling 160 overs, and who knows, even little more. So that's really like moving ahead with and having Anderson. Anderson really bowled a big spell today, and the fast bowler. So if they bowl another 80 overs on the trot tomorrow again, so that's 160 overs. That will be a big. So who knows, they might even have to rest because the next test match is also very soon. It's not a big gap.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Wilton-Davies, I'm assuming he's English, will find England should have gone with 2 spinners, and so should India too. By the way, Adil Rashid is not in the team. I don't think he's in the squad. But it doesn't mean he can't be brought into the squad. I'm sure he can be. See, again, a comment like Gaurav Banker saying Gaurav Banker was ready to take Pujara out of the side, I think.
Yeah, Garib Banker.
Pujara gone last test. Now he's saying we need a double 100 from him. Gaurav Banker, give Pujara a break. He's just scored 91. If he gets 100, he's redeemed himself. 200 is a bit of a, not a miracle, but that's a huge ask. If he gets 150, it'll be unbelievable. Honestly,
I won't say redeem Norman, but I would really like to see more consistency for him. Like this gap, what has happened, or this is an end from all of them. It's not just Pujara, but it goes to all three: Pujara, Rohit, and Rane. It's
of course.
too long, and yeah, let's be very critical. It's too long, and the
Okay,
chances is
it's too
because
long.
of performance.
But it is too long. But it's also a remarkable situation to be in, to be scoring a century when you're 354 runs behind, regardless of the state of the pitch. It is a very important 100. It's not just 100 to go ahead and start the series. It's an important 100 because this is showing what I've expected all along as the fight of India. I've talked about that quite heavily. A lot of people was dismissing it, saying they would get out and they wouldn't even go through the third and fourth day, which was fair enough because after their first performance, you couldn't think of anything else. But India are going to fight, and they're fighting. They're fighting big time. Kohli can't be ignored as captain of the side. His positivity. He was smiling and laughing yesterday afternoon with punts and Sharma in the slips towards the end of the day, which I thought was a little bit, well, it was a good sign, actually. It was actually a good sign because it showed to me that, hey, guys, we're still going to enjoy this. We're not going to be doom and gloom. And that was pretty impressive, wasn't it, really? Because at that stage, they were 354 or 300 on behind. A lot of teams, the shoulders would have sunk by that stage.
Yeah, Messi. That's one thing I like about this Indian team. Like from the previous match, also at least I've seen in Test matches like that fighting. That's a big difference. What I've seen from the Indian team of the 2000s and the Indian team. Except okay, the 2001 match was something like for the storybooks. But from at least from these last many matches, I've seen that at least a very good fight back or very good. And I would actually put it like Kohli, yes, is a major factor in this in his captaincy, but I would think there is a lot of attitude or this even coming from the coach because Ravi Shastri, what I've understood, though he's behind the scenes, but I feel he has also a big role to play in this.
Oh, Ravi Shastri's been huge, absolutely huge. There's no doubt about that. But it has to be executed by a captain on the field as well. Okay,
Correct.
And I'm not going to say when, if they come out of this test match, let's even say they get a victory, which is unlikely. I tell you what, Kohli's captaincy could be around 60% in terms of success. Now, that's not due to his team alone. That's due to him. Okay? And on top of that, he's captain now 64, 65 times. That's enormous. I think we're going to realise how important Kohli's captaincy's been. He's not as lauded over as perhaps Dhoni was. Okay, Dhoni was a great captain. I got no doubt about it. Especially in the short format, he was a great captain. Especially, but I think that
Dhoni's situation, see, let me tell you, was different because when he came, the team was in tatters. So he had to actually get the team together, get it, and move it along. But I'd say luckily, previously also I said that India luckily has got very good way in captains. Saurav Ganguly who first transformed the attitude, then you had Dhoni taking over, and then you had Virat taking over. So that way, it has been good.
Okay, that's true. That's absolutely true. But Kohli's taken it, I would argue, to another level. He's also captained long. He's captained really long. He's captained long enough where there could have been ups and downs. And he's still around the 60% mark, which is what, third behind Steve Waugh. I think it's Steve Waugh, Graham Smith, and currently Williamson are the only other three captains ever that have got a higher percentage rate. That is incredible. You have to put that in perspective. Even the days of Bradman, back in his day, he was captain, of course. A number of the English captains going back in the day, they had a lot of things in their favour. They still didn't have the same percentage record as this. It's pretty. If you're over 50%, you're doing brilliantly. And if you're 60%, it's pretty. 60%. 60% means you're winning much more than you're losing. Okay, and that's immediately significant. Really, I've Lord, I talked about his captaincy a
I
lot.
mean, coming back to Ravi Shastri, maybe Norman, you can advise Cricket Australia in case India does not want him, and you have Langer going.
Well,
So,
I'm only knocking Langer because it's evident there's a problem there. Okay, Jimmy Maxwell, who's the book's behind me there. He was on yesterday afternoon for the last. Did you see that? Have you seen that?
I saw some part of it yesterday. Yeah, I saw him on.
Well, I hit Jim pretty hard with the question about Malcolm Conn and Daniel Brettig writing heavily about Justin Langer and all the talk about Langer. He said, look, when a team's losing, you look straight to the coach and captain. It's always the case, right? And they're giving Justin Langer a real heat. All the players have been saying things about Langer, right? But isn't that typical of a team when they start to lose? They look for a scapegoat. And, you know, Langer's, I'm not saying Langer's the best coach ever. I'm not saying that. But with all fairness, he's got a team around him that's actually ready to use him as a scapegoat here when there's a lot of Australian cricketers that need to be looking at their own play at the moment. Australia has got some, I mean, I'll go back to two people, Steve Smith and Dave Warner. Despite their relative successes in their batting, right, their situation around the team, it has been terrible. In particular with Sandpaper Gate, but also the fact that Smith came out in the public and said that he'd be the next captain. These sorts of movements show to me that they think too good of themselves. Okay, and they've got to, and that is not good. Not good. They should support the coach that's in play. They should support the structure in play. If they can't do that, there's something wrong on both sides, including the players. I would, Steve Smith and Warner's never going to be captain again, nor should Steve Smith. I'm telling you now, Steve should not be brought back as captain. I don't care who's playing. You got to support Tim Payne currently, and they've got to find a new young captain to take over. In my opinion, they have to do that. I'm talking about tests now.
So, somehow also, if you ask me, Norman, as a third person perspective, I find that the many Australian players are more towards getting individual records, or I
No
don't
doubt.
see it towards the team. I get that feeling even from Marnus,
Absolutely.
Labuschagne, Warner, Steve Smith, and many others. They are like playing to keep their place in the team. Then either they're playing to keep their place in the team, or they're playing to get records and that kind of thing. So the overall team winning and this, I don't see that kind of attitude or the team spirit. This is just my observation.
Well, that starts and finishes with Dave Warner. Dave Warner is at the epicenter of this problem. He is the epitome of somebody who has not played for the team. Look at the way the Sunrisers Hyderabad this year. Remember how he got sacked by Trevor Bayliss?
Yeah.
What the hell happened there? He twice was bagging the selection process openly at the toss, and also couldn't even be bothered announcing the 4 new players in the team. Now, what sort of captain is that? That's just a horrible captain. And I don't mean Warner as captain of Australia, but he was vice captain, don't forget, and he was bullying the rest of his team. I'm going to say something here. It's going to be a bit controversial, even though Warner's statistics are very good playing for Australia. I would seriously consider not having him in the team.
I would consider not having Steve Smith, but problem is you don't have anyone else.
But I mean, the problem is that admittedly we missed Warner and Smith when they were not the side for that year. I would have expected them to have learned a lesson. But the moment they got back in the side, Warner's carrying on almost the same way. Certainly in the short format, he's carrying the same way for Sunrisers Hyderabad. He hasn't learned his lesson yet. He still hasn't learned his lesson. And I'd be saying, right, mate, belt up, go out and bat and score hundreds, and I don't want you to influence the side any other way. I don't want you to influence who's captain, who's coach. Because I can assure you that two of the people that are causing a lot of dissension behind Justin Langer are Steve Smith and Dave Warner. Okay? There's no doubt about it. I've got no doubt that that's where we don't know who's leaking, but Usman Khawaja said someone is stabbing Langer in the back, which is quite an incredible statement because Khawaja has every right not to be happy with Langer as well because he was dropped. But I think Khawaja, he's known Dave Warner for a long time. They both were young together as well. I'd love to know more about that relationship. I don't think it's good. I'm pretty sure it's not good.
Let's hope they turn. But I usually in my heart of hearts, I say in the T20 World Cup, I won't be surprised if Australia do good. Means that's where they get the act together. At least that has been the strength of the Australian team.
Okay. If it was 50 over cricket, I would say yes. If it was an ODI World Cup, absolutely. They've been champions of the ODI format for many World Cups. But in the T20 World Cup, when was the last time Australia won that?
I think they have not won the T20 World Cup.
Right? I'm struggling to remember a time they've won it. We're not really that good at T20 as a country. Individual players, IPL, yes. Maxwell does brilliantly. Whoever, they do well. But the reality as a team, and they haven't played as a team. Who would ever say that it's a good preparation for a World Cup when none of the team have been together? Maxwell, Smith, Warner. Where the hell were they when there was Bangladesh and West Indies? The last two series before the World Cup, they weren't playing. I don't care about COVID. There's something wrong there.
But that's weirdly a good sign in cricket. Usually when teams are disarray and they come for a World Cup, they do good. Let me tell you, this is my observation.
No, it's a fair point. Look, the West Indies tend to come together when they play the World Cup. So does Pakistan. Yeah. You're right. But I think Australia need to have a bit of preparation as a team, and they haven't got that. They're going to. I mean, Pat Cummins is not playing the IPL now, is he?
Why exactly? What's the reason? Is this personal reason, or means he wants to? What's the reason for that?
I really don't know. Pat Cummins is a pretty good guy. Okay, Pat Cummins is a pretty good guy. He probably has an understanding that there's a World Cup coming up and there's an Ashes series, and if he does IPL, Ashes, and World Cup, he could well be gone by the time the Ashes comes around. He could be broken. He could be. Injury-wise.
Well, if looking at the country, that's a good decision because if I'm not wrong, you'll be losing a substantial sum of money also, right? For not being part.
Oh yeah. I mean, look. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of time for the Australian bowlers. In general, they're pretty good at their attitude. Okay, they're not the problem. Australian bowlers are not the problem. I guess the depth of Australian bowlers is a problem. Beyond Hazelwood, Stark, Cummins, and Lyon, there's not a lot coming through. That's a big problem. Okay, and it often is when you've got a team of players or bowlers that have been together for a long time. It's hard for other bowlers to come through. So they're in a bit of trouble with depth of bowling, but not that. But bowling crop, I've got pretty happy with that from a test perspective.
Technical guys saying Pat Cummins not playing because he has a baby bump. Is that correct? I was not aware of this.
I think his wife is pregnant. I don't know the stage of that. Look, I guess there's an increasing focus on young families, like Butler's in that same boat. Even Kohli himself missed out on test matches. There is an increasing concentration of that, yes. And also the sheer weight of the bubble. It's probably a combination, okay? If it's due to a child, I take my hat off to that, okay? Butler's willing to give up everything. He's not wanting to play any format from... I thought there's a chance that he may not be available for the next test, Butler, which is very impressive that he does that. You've got to give credit. If that's the case, well, great. If that's what Cummins' situation is, great. That's a big step. But I can assure you, Warner and Smith, in particular, Warner will not miss out on the IPL. Okay, and there's no guarantee. I'd like to know what happens with Warner because he was dropped a game before the IPL finished for that first half. He was dropped, remember?
Yeah, it was just a matter of one game. That I feel a little sad. Maybe just the corona, that whole episode would not have happened. But see, players also need to look at the IPL, or the boards have to look at, because this IPL is played in UAE and the same grounds where the T20 World Cup. So it will be a good way to train the players and get to know the conditions and things like that. So It has to be looked as a normal IPL.
Okay, as individuals, yes, but as a team, no, because your team's not together.
Yeah, but they can give a lot of inputs also, right? Norman, like this ground is like this, conditions, you do this, you do that. Hey, yesterday, Sir David made a comment that he is very confident that being played in the UAE, England would surely win. I did not understand his logic. Why is he saying that way?
Well, he knows. Okay, at this stage, on paper, England and India are the favourites to get to the T20 World Cup final, with the West Indies and potentially a Pakistan on their day beating anyone. Okay, New Zealand are also very strong. They may figure, but they're the five sides on paper at the moment that deserve that discussion. England, because it's not in India, the Indian favour goes a little bit away from it, a little bit. Okay, and it goes more to an England or even a Pakistan, because Pakistan's played there a hell of a lot, and England tend to do well in the UAE, is what he's saying. So that's where it levels it somewhat. In India, the T20 World Cup, India were specials with potentially England. Pakistan, West Indies would have struggled because of the conditions. But this is a slightly more batter-friendly surface and a slow bowler-friendly as well.
Yeah.
A slow bowler. The pace bowling of Australia and South Africa will not work on this ground. They'll do okay, but they won't be as
Especially bowlers who have a good slower ball, they work very well over there.
Yeah. England have got the depth. They've got some great short form players. One of the best in the world, other than India. There's no doubt about that. India and England are the top two. Okay. Australia are not a renowned T20 World Cup team. As a team, I'm talking. Individual players, yeah, they get selected all the time. But even the Australian bowlers that play in the IPL, Meredith was crap. Richardson was crap. Jai Richardson. Meredith's not there. But Pat Cummins was pretty good. Hazelwood doesn't bowl that well. He's only played 10 or so matches for Australia in T20 format. That's not many. Stark is
also very jiffy. He will bowl one good over in a spell of 4. That's what I've seen.
I think Stark will play well. I think in the World Cup he will.
Okay.
You know, I think that's not a bad format for him. T20 is not a bad format. Okay, but he's not invincible either. I don't think Australia will go well. I'm going to maintain that. If they prove me wrong, it'll be a bit of a shock. But I can't imagine them doing well. I'm still predicting they won't make the final 4. They've got who have they got in their group? They've got England and the West Indies in their group, haven't they? That's pretty damn hard.
England, West Indies, most probably even maybe Bangladesh will come in, or Sri Lanka.
And South Africa, even though South Africa's not, I'm not expecting them to go through. You know, England will beat Australia in the T20 format. I've got no doubt. West Indies on their day, we've just proved it. They've beaten them 4-1. You know, I'd say that those two teams are more likely to go through than Australia.
And West Indies players have a lot of experience in UAE. They play the T10 also.
Oh yeah.
All of them just play the T10 over there.
And Chris Gale, Bravo, Andre Russell, these guys that you would argue passed it, but they can still muscle enough to get through a T20 match. I tell you, it's the perfect format for them. Really is.
West Indies, like the batting is up to number 10, and anyone can be the game changer. That's a very strong West Indies lineup. They just need one batsman to click. In T20, you just need one batsman to click who can change the game.
Now, Ian Malik Chowdhury has been making comments all the time, but now he's talking about Ronaldo and Messi are legends. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah,
I thought we were talking about cricket here.
Going from the Test match to Australian team to T20, West Indies. Now we're switching over to football. I think let's go back to the Test match.
Chris Woke should play the next match. Well, if he's fit, Harsh Gupta, he will. But I'm pretty sure he's out for the series. I don't think he's going to be involved, although he did play a second 11 game the other day. I don't think he's quite there yet.
What was told is out for the series. All those 5 people are out for the series, 5 or 6.
Yeah. It's putting a lot of pressure on Anderson, isn't it? A lot of pressure on Anderson.
Yeah, so that's it's big advantage. If India played tomorrow whole day, I'm telling, moving on the next two matches, uh, uh, will I won't be surprised that India wins this match and even the next two.
Now let's not get too carried away now. I mean,
Let
he'll be coming out all guns blazing in the fourth match. I can tell you, he'll get a bag of wickets. He'll explode, and that's probably very good for India to have him up the sleeve to come back and go bang. You know what? There could be a very tactical, smart move here by keeping Ashwin back and letting him go for the fourth and fifth test. He could dominate in those two tests, as opposed to bowling him too much early on. I think there may have been some very smart decisions in this process, bowling bowlers for certain wickets, and they've kept him out because the four fast bowlers have done the job. Really, if you think about it, they whenever they're in doubt, India, they've thrown Ashwin the ball, haven't they? Especially in India, they can't always do that.
India, you just need India. If you ask me, moving forward, they should have just Jadeja, Ashwin, and one fast bowler. I think that's enough in India, and where they curate the pitch, that's sufficient. Have rest all batsmen. You play VRE, play Mayank Agarwal. Just these three bowlers are enough.
Are you kidding? If they're having an off day, they'll get smashed. If Ashwin has a bad day, oh come on, you got to have more than that.
In India, how can Ashwin and Jadeja get an off day? It's like next to.
No, fair enough. But I mean, look, the way that the Indian bowling line is, Ishant Sharma will probably not be in the next test, and Ashwin will be. That's probably going to be the only change. The top four batters have just proven a point today. They haven't won the game yet, but they've proven a point. So they're not going to be dropped. Rahane, to his benefit, I don't think he will be either, no matter how he goes in the fourth innings, in the second innings. I don't think that'll be relevant either. I think that this is significant enough. But let's hope they get past the score tomorrow. Let's hope they get a lead. And if we're sitting here tomorrow with 100,
First, I'll be happy that the first 1 hour Kohli and Pujara still batting. If that's there, then means fingers crossed. I don't want to jinx them because Kohli is very notorious in getting out very early morning, and even Pujara. No, Pujara also, but Kohli is very notorious getting out first thing in the morning.
Yeah, it's true. After having batted the day before, well, that is true. There's a vulnerability. 45 for Kohli is not enough. 91, I would argue, is enough, but probably not enough for the team for Pujara tomorrow. They both got to score big. For me,
Kohli needs to get 100, and this is his platform to get his mindset back, to get to become the Kohli back. And same with Pujara. Means I know it's a question of 9 runs and thing, but that getting 100, it really changes your mindset, and that is required.
It is a pity, though, if I'm being honest with you, that we don't. I know we have golds, 100s and 50s. I get that. But 91 is still a magnificent batting performance. Rohit Sharma's 59 was honestly magnificent, considering the circumstances. You've got to give it to them. And the fact that Rahul has failed this test is not against Rahul because he's batted really well in the first two test matches. It's good to see that they've been able to support the team now and get their act together. That is Sharma, Kohli, and obviously Pujara. This, is okay. It's a flat. I don't care if it's a flat track. I don't care. It's not the relevancy of it. You still got to go and score the runs, don't you? You've got to still score the runs. And Rohit Sharma got out to a pretty good ball. He didn't play a bad shot at least this time. Rohit Sharma's innings.
Yes, Rahul, I would say. First inning, I would say it was completely unwarranted, and it was his own mistake. He got out. Trying to drive Anderson in the third or the fourth delivery of the match, the first over of the match. But in today's match, I think it was a reasonably good ball that he got out to, and that catch was simply amazing.
I actually think Root would have dropped that. I really think. I think Root would have dropped that had he got a hold of it. I think Root would have dropped it. To be honest with you, I thought it was a great catch. Best. I mean, this is the beauty of having Best on the scene. He's a good batter. He's a good fielder. He's a winner. Bairstow should always be in this England side. Bairstow is extremely important to this England side. I still maintain, even though he wasn't needed this test, Bairstow could open the batting if needed in desperation. He is someone who has played 70-odd test matches and still, is up to the ranks.
At his current position, he feels out of place now. If you ask me, I feel they need to change his position.
Batting position?
Yeah, batting position.
What do you think? He deserves to go higher or lower?
Higher.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Hamid, I'm not sold on him just yet. Milan, I'm very impressed with. Milan's attitude, the way he batted, even though he didn't get 100, it was like he's always been there at first drop.
Malan, what I did not like, he should have walked out. That was if he got the edge, I don't know. There's something like a spirit of cricket. They talk and all that. When he got out, that was the only thing that I did not like.
Yeah,
he knew he had edged it. He knew he had edged it.
I've got a lot of time for Milan. I've told you before. I told you early in the series. I think very early in the series, I was talking highly of Milan, didn't I? Very early in the series. And people were saying, no, he's a T20 player. The way he batted for his 70 was all class. Very, very almost Alistair Cook.
I thought he's perfect for this format. At least what currently England are going with. I think they were at zeros. They could not do anything bad. So, and definitely, like even at other pitches, I think he would have definitely done better than what England previously had.
So I still think Zach Crawley for the Ashes will be important, and I'd even argue that Zach Crawley could open with perhaps Rory Burns in Australia. I think Hamid's he doesn't look like he'd be able to handle a good set of short bowling in Australia. I don't think. He looks very weak. Something about his batting, he looks weak. I don't know what it is, but Crawley and Milan together. They're saying Vince as well, but there's some players in England side that will step up in Australia and give Australia a fight.
Yeah, Hamid looks like he would be like he would get out every next ball. He looks like as if he's going to get out. Someone looks very weird.
Yeah, I don't know what. I haven't seen him bat enough to know what he really is like, but they raved about him. He's obviously got runs a lot early in his career, but I don't know whether he's really. Maybe we haven't seen the best of him. I'll give him some sort of credit there.
Let's take some questions.
Yeah, okay. England took very heavily roller to flatten out the pitch, and also the sun was out the whole day after that. England, and that's true. The ground. Let's not forget what Ben Stokes did on this ground. He batted fantastically towards the end of the match. It's going to get easier to bat. But scoreboard pressure could work in India's favour if they get a lead, because England will be very unhappy if they're coming to the last day of the test and they're 150, 200 runs behind. That's going to really not be in their mindset. They're going to think, how the hell did we get in that position? Weren't we 354 in front? It's going to affect England, I reckon, more than India.
So today when India batted, I believe they also took the heavy roller, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So now tomorrow morning also they roll the pitch or they don't roll it?
Oh, they do, absolutely.
And do they ask which roller, or it's not for the?
Okay. They normally before, I think they'll ask the they'll ask again. Yes, they will ask tomorrow. They will ask.
I think changeover they ask. They say whether you want light or heavy. I know during a changeover, but during the morning stay play.
I think every day a roller is used before the beginning of the day. I'm pretty sure.
But do they ask if they don't ask, then what type do they use?
Well, if no one asks, generally a pitch needs to be rolled before a day's play. I'm pretty sure it's a daily ritual. Okay, before the innings it certainly is too, but I'm pretty sure at the beginning of a day's play, I'm pretty sure it's done. I'm trying to think back to any of the matches that I've seen. I'm not. I
know it's rolled. See, in the morning they roll it, but my question is: do they ask the team batting that what type of roller do you want to be used, or for at that case they don't ask? I think that's my doubt.
I can't say conclusively at this point. I don't know. offhand every time. I know before the innings, a new innings, yes. But I can't comment. I'm just trying to think back to my recollection of what happens during a match. The rollers are normally used before each day's play, I'm pretty sure. Because I think there's the potential of overnight conditions that may warrant that. I'm pretty sure it's done. I don't know conclusively. Let's try and find out. Well, I'll get some information before, because I'm not, unless someone on the actual guests, sorry, the so-called viewers can tell us. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Norman Graham, trust me, the Australian and England players don't walk out unless umpire don't raise the finger or third up and give them out, for example. Okay, fair enough.
I think this was through the David Malan incident.
Yeah, okay. Shows how bad having Crawley, Sibbler, Lawrence Pope around as compared to Hamid, Malan, Vince, Roy. Look, there's a lot of truth. I didn't think much of Sibley and Lawrence. I had very little opinion of both of them. I'm not sold on Pope. Crawley, the only person I would say that's going to come back. Pope maybe hasn't quite made it yet, but Sibley and Lawrence should never come into contention again. I know Lawrence is in the squad, but they both don't impress me at all. That's my thoughts. I mean, that's a fair point. That the middle order problem is, it's not solved, but it's back.
Yeah, even for England, I won't say that their batting issues have been solved, because again, the pitch was flat, the condition, it was like perfect for batting, and okay, they did, but I can't say solved. You need to have some consistency of at least 2 good in every 3 matches. I keep that kind of a metric or that kind of a judgment. You should 2 good innings in 3 matches.
I mean, I'm not sold on Hamid yet. Rory Burns, I'm pretty satisfied with. I'm particularly impressed with Milan. I think he's going to be a big opportunity in the future. Root is playing out of his skin. I mean, really, he's 390 runs or thereabouts to break Mohamed Yusuf's record for the most runs in the calendar year of 788. He could do that. He's got 4 or 5 tests.
You know, one thing I've noticed, like when a player does not score and a bowler takes him out, like Anderson take a call, the term bunny is used. Like here, I don't know if Anderson takes out Kohli again, they will say bunny. But Bumrah is regularly.
I don't think
Bumrah is regularly taking out Root, but nobody is saying that Root is bunny. The only reason being the Root is scoring. But let me tell you, the Bumrah is taking him out on really good balls. Right? It's the skill of Bumrah that is getting Root out, and not that Root is playing any false shot or he is playing. Till now, whatever deliveries, they have been beautiful deliveries by Bumrah to get Root out.
I mean, I don't know if I'm being honest with you. I mean, Bumrah's been fantastic. He took 9 wickets, 9 wickets in the first test. It was amazing, and they lost the match. Siraj got 8 wickets in the second match. They won the match. This match so far, no bowlers really stood out for India. And they need to do that in the last innings, and they will if they're given the opportunity. And that's where I think Siraj could become really important in the last day. I really do.
I won't be surprised Ishan makes a comeback, because I've seen like he has bats well, and suddenly he also comes out with something really productive. At least that's what has kept him in the team. Have you noticed why so long Ishant has been in the team? Because he produces those really good spells. I don't know how to know, because his bowling, if you ask me, honestly looks very ordinary. If you ask me, Ishant Sharma, but somehow he gets crucial wickets at crucial times in crucial patches. A lot of crucial news over there, but that's the reason why he has been in the team.
Yeah. The bowlers like Yashir Shah, even Nathan Lyon, are the most. They're those sort of bowlers are taking the most of the Fab Four, which is intriguing to me. That's an interesting stat, isn't it? I didn't know that.
Okay.
So that's I mean, spin
bowlers: Kane, Kohli, Steve
Kane,
Smith,
Kohli, Root, and Smith.
Okay.
Yashir Shah's done a lot of damage to them. Interesting.
No, Root. So Root is not.
No,
Actually, now we should say the Fab 6 because I would definitely rate Root and even Babar Azam.
no, but the top four are Root, Williamson, Coley, and Smith. They're the top four. So Root is a part of that. Root is definitely top of the top four. In fact, at the moment, this year, he's number one. And I would argue Williamson's been number two and Coley's three. Steve Smith is no more than fourth. He's only played one test match all year.
If you ask me, I would not put both Steve Smith and Kohli in the top four for this year. Why would you put Kohli just because of his past performance? That's you have to take it year by year. For this year, if you ask me,
let's Root by 100 miles.
Yeah,
Williamson because of his performance in the World Test Championship for sure would be up there. So third would be who? You know who it really is at the moment? It's Rohit Sharma.
Yeah. Babar Azam would be also third. But
Babar Azam's test record, his short form is pretty good. His test record's not as fantastic as we may think. It's not bad, but it's not as fantastic. I think he's got a way to go before he really proves himself to be. Babar Azam's certainly the best, one of the best of his team. But they're forgetting Asa Ali. He's got a pretty good bloody record too.
Fawad Alam is playing well. In fact, the best player right now, if you ask me, in Pakistan is Fawad Alam.
Oh, yeah. I just love the way that Pakistan unearth these players. They have a lot of incredible players over there. Mohammad Yusuf or Yunus Khan, great players.
Yeah, but I think the system is really, they need to sort it out because really like good players are not coming up. Like Fawad Alam, like last 10 years did not play, and now you see this guy's like scoring almost century in every match. And and if you're aware, like just I got surprised that against the test match in Zimbabwe, they played a bowler who had his first match, Tabrish Khan, if I'm not wrong. He debuted at the age of 35 or 36. Imagine a fast bowler, pure fast bowler, debuting at the age of 35, 36. And his first class record has been great. I don't know why this guy did not debut 7 or 8 years back.
I tell you what, despite his age, he'll be happy that he's debuted, I tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. Take it from me, Dr. Ramachandran Rai. Both these Indian batsmen will have a good night's sleep and start fresh and bat the whole day tomorrow. Once they get that 150-run lead, the Mollers in will get the jitters. It's not wrong. It's there for.
Yeah, that happens.
We're only halfway there. We're only.
Yeah, that happens. I'll treat you for if you drink, whatever.
I mean, look, they're only a third of the way there to getting this in their favour. They still have to bat tomorrow in full. They then have to bat and bowl well on the last day. They're only about a third of the way there. They're still not in front. India's still not in front. We've got to be realistic. They're still 139 runs behind.
But let it put it this way, like Norman, if you wanted to see a miracle in this match, saying that a miracle, what would have been the expectation of India by today evening? I would have said 200 plus something for 2 wickets down, maybe 3 wickets.
Oh, no doubt.
They have achieved.
They have definitely achieved.
They have achieved that.
It would have been good if they were none down. And with Rahul and Sharma batting well. In fact, you know what? I'd argue that wouldn't be good because without having 3, 4, and 5 having any opportunity, they could have fallen tomorrow like a pack of cards. The fact that they have taken the lead is more encouraging, you would argue. Because, more than half the runs have come.
And it really feels like Rane will also score here, Pant will score here, even Jadeja. I really feel that this was the stage set up for them. Yeah,
as long as they get through the first hour's play.
Yeah, that's fingers crossed. Let's not jinx them.
No, don't jinx them because if Pujara, Kohli, and say Rahane fall really quickly, they're not in a good state of affairs at all.
Somehow from the Duke balls means I don't know. I've noticed and like some Duke balls really behave differently and some behave differently. Really, it's like ball to ball what you're picking up.
They're a judgment ball. They can be very dark. They can be very heavy. They can be very, very, very heavy and dark. And if the conditions are overcast, you probably want that ball to be darker and heavier the darker and heavier the ball, it tends to swing more. And I'm pretty sure that's what Anderson, because he would be the person to decide what they'd have a kit of balls. I think they get to decide which one they want, and he would pick. I reckon a good chance he would pick a darker, heavier ball, especially for overcast conditions. It just seems it's harder to see because it's darker. For one, that's one big thing. The seam's not prominent as well, and it's heavier. Means it droops and drops and swings more. It tends to do more for some reason.
See, because today also there was that overcast condition in between. Yeah, the ball was swinging slightly. In fact, and I don't know, means the Indian fast bowlers don't have that, but somehow the English fast bowlers are able to swing it more. Okay, Anderson is like in a league of his own. He's the master of swing, if you can say.
There were certain divots on the wicket. There was like the wicket was a bit cushiony, it was spongy earlier on. And once that hardens out, that creates little divots. When a ball hits a soft pitch, the ball makes an impression on the pitch, and that pitch can often be depressed in that spot. And if it hardens in that depressed state, it creates unevenness, and that's what they were commenting on as well. They would put the ball on a seam or a wobble seam, it would hit these particular little divots and would suddenly dart. Did you notice that? The ball did quite considerably dart. And that's because this pitch apparently has the softness, which then hardens and then starts to take this natural movement. The ball's put the right steps.
Actually, Root was able to spin a couple of balls. Third day of a match, you're seeing good spin.
Yeah, but I don't rate Root. I don't think he should be bowling, to be honest with you. I think okay, it's handy to have him in the side, but
I think Norman there Root bowled because they were only allowed to bowl spinners, and who other than Moeen Ali and he were bowling because they wanted to finish because let me tell you, if the match ended at 70 when the dark light was there and they would have ended, that means tomorrow morning they would have to bowl 8 overs with the old ball, so they would lose.
Okay, I accept that, but I don't think it really would have mattered to England if they left the ground early. I don't think they would have mattered at all. I don't think England would have been upset about leaving. It
would have made a big difference tomorrow morning, right? Because the first 30 minutes they would be bowling with the old ball, so they are losing that advantage.
Either way, bringing Root on to bowl tells me that England are not in a position of command in this batting effort. That's what it tells me. You shouldn't have needed Root to bowl at any stage because you should have had. You could argue could have had India all out by the end of the day's play. Okay. Or by early tomorrow. If England were on top, they would have India 6 down, 7 down. Okay? And they haven't. So they're not on top. That means that they had to bowl long enough, and also Root had to bowl. That's not a good sign. If that makes it, I know what you said is correct, but the fact that Root's having to bowl means England aren't doing well. Because they've got.
I would not agree with that, Norman, because see. If it was before the light issue, I would have agreed. Yes, you completely make sense. But after the light issue, he was compelled to bowl because he had an agenda of making sure that tomorrow morning he gets the new ball.
I get that. I totally get that. But I'm saying to you, if India was 6 down at the end of the day's play, they wouldn't have needed Root to get to that point, is what I'm saying to you. And if it was bad luck stop play, they would be in such a commanding position where the 6 down for minus 200 or whatever would have been a pretty messy situation. I'm just saying Root bowling to me, they're going down below their top line bowlers, and I understand why you're saying that, but still psychologically, there's a bit of a victory for India right there. Okay. There's still 130.
There's a comment from Harsh Gupta on first day ball was moving like a snake. I remember this commentary from, I think Michael Holding was showing a banana and saying the ball is moving like a banana. I don't know if you saw that.
Same, definitely. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Music harmony. What are you talking about, Cristiano, back in Manchester United? Okay, it may well be the case. If we'll have a show about soccer if you want.
Maybe we can have one show we are talking about football now. Eyes on English Premier League.
It'd have to be on an occasion, of course, when there's a significant match. What's the state of affairs? Is it coming close to the end of their season?
No, its season I think is going to start, and right now they
Correct.
are picking up
Correct.
or
Sorry.
buying players.
Right. So it's pre-season talk. Okay.
Yeah. So pre-season, it's like who's buying whom and who will be in the team. I think that's what going on. Honestly, I've stopped following. When I was very young, I used to follow English Premier League, but after that, stopped
Yeah,
following.
I'm not as big a fan either, to be honest. Sam Curran bowled ordinary. Yeah, he wasn't exactly at his best, but he bowled so well in the first innings. You know, you've got to give him respect for that. I don't think anyone's going to bowl well on this pitch at the moment. It's become a batter's deck. Yeah, actually, the England bowlers did get a bit of swing early on. I was very impressed with Rohit Sharma and Rahul, the way they handled the early parts of the innings. The first few overs, anything. If you lose a wicket early on against England, you're in trouble. And they didn't.
One question, Norman, like moving on to the next match, Oval, people are saying spin would help the spinners, but won't you think that England, they are aware and they would make the pitch such that it does not help and it might turn the other way, that it becomes seamer friendly? And
yeah, but it's all about weather as well. If the weather's dry, the wickets turn out that way. It's England aren't. Well, you could argue England docked the game because of the type of ball they use. The Duke's ball is fantastic for their conditions, literally. So that they often get it through the ball rather than the pitch. But it's the soil. It's the type of soil that they use in each country, which is different. And that's where the differences start. India has a lot more of a clay-based soil. England has more of a true soil.
And also the weather, that's something very unique too.
Oh, for sure. It's not just the pitch. And you're almost suggesting that England will prepare a wicket that suits England. I mean, Australia does it with Gabba, for sure. They generally have a faster pitch there. But I don't think necessarily they do that. I don't think that curators are pretty neutral in most cases. They're not necessarily going to favour one side. And they may a little bit, but not overly.
But here I'm getting that they are curating the pitches that they are really flat and don't help the seamers. Where if you see India's as this seam attack, if you see seam wise, India's attack is much stronger. Where England's force is on the swing, especially Anderson and Ollie. So the way it's going on, like literally they're completely cutting off the grass, making it flat. So definitely something is going on, Norman. It's not that.
I don't know, but what they're actually doing is catering for having a 5-day test. They don't want to have games finished in 3 days because there were 2 days broadcasting and gate takings that they're missing out on. So actually, it's more of a matter of making the game last longer rather than necessarily favouring a side, to be honest with you. Actually, curators will be determined by they want people in the ground. They want money spent at the ground. They want broadcasters' rights so that the various cricket boards get money. I tell you what, that's becoming as significant as anything else. And having a 3-day match, even though we're all happy if your team wins in 3 days, we're all happy. Broadcasters would see that as a disaster. Wouldn't they?
It's a tough thing to balance.
See my comments. Hang on. See my comments to understand something more. What comments? I love these people who write these cheeky little comments that make you want to look for their previous comment. In fact, the England bowls got. I already talked about that. Ravindra just before Rishabh Pant, as he was playing it, I do think there's some merit about this, putting Jadeja in front of Pant. I really do. I think there's some merit there, and they have to consider that. I really do think they need to think that. And it's true, this ground, after what Ben Stokes did here, that was quite amazing. And I'll tell you what, India must be very happy that Ben Stokes has not been in the series because he could really have helped England a lot, even though I think that
both batting as well as bowling, both.
Oh, for sure. I mean, having a score of 200 on the last day, say the 120 at Lords that England needed. If Ben Stokes would have come in, he could have easily changed that. Really, he could have taken hold of it. He's extremely important to.
Lords, I don't think they would have won even if they had Ben Stokes, because they lost two quick early wickets, Norman, and then they had uplifted. So that means they had to go at really 5 or 6 and over for like 40, 50 overs. Like for 50 overs, if you're telling me you have to go at 5 and over, that's too much. I don't think even Ben Stokes being present would have.
I think he would have made a difference this series, to be honest with you. He would have made a difference. He would have made a big difference.
Yeah, maybe they would not have been in that position at the sets because of his bowling. Who knows? He would have maybe taken them out.
Yeah, he's a bit like Rishabh Pant to India, really. He can do things quite amazingly. But Stokes is, you would argue, better than Pant up until the point of his time away from the game. It concerns me that Ben Stokes is not injured. He has got a finger injury, but he's not here because his father passed away, period. He's not here because he's had a family incident which has really rocked him. And was obviously very close to his father.
No, but like when you were talking about the Kohli leaving during last year, Gordon, in fact, previously, see, one way I really commend, family is such big things happen in your life. The cricketers also have their personal life, and this is something they should do. But it was really commendable. See, many people backlash on Kohli and say that this guy did not do this guy. So it's all personal, but that freedom should be given. Like some people have some family members issues. Some stay and play, and people praise them. Some who go, some they backlash, which I disagree. It's on the player's choice, and it should be. In fact, you should allow that more players, when they have such issues, they are happy to leave, and they know they will get the support. Because previously, I never heard that such a thing happened and a player went, because usually even like
Marcus Trescothick, the batting for England, had mental issues. He left the game because of that.
I'm talking about India terms. I'm talking about the way the Indian culture and this is. I'm being very specific to India.
Right. Okay. Because Bukowski, at his young age, has gone off at least a couple of times. He was selected for Australia. He was getting ready to play for Australia, and then pulled out because his mental state was not right.
And whenever he comes, he gets injured. I think twice or thrice this has happened.
But I mean, look, forget about the injury moment. Bukowski's a young man. He's twice had mental issues where it stopped him playing. It's quite serious, actually. Very serious. I mean, he'd get a double 100 playing for his state, and between then and getting selected for Australia, while he was lost. Incredible. Imagine being able to score a double century when you're in your 19, 20, whatever age he is, and then him not being able to go on with it when he's been picked for Australia. It can be overwhelming. If you think you're a 9-year-old kid, the whole thing can be bloody overwhelming, I tell you. It's quite a concern, as a matter of fact. All right. Don't forget about Joe Root. Yeah, we shouldn't forget about Joe Root. We moved on from him pretty quickly. He's still there. They get him out early.
Joe Root also had mental issues, or no? This is something else.
No. That's not related to that. No. But Ben Stokes certainly did and has. I would argue Maxwell has on occasions too. He's had some issues. Warner should have had issues. I'm joking.
Maybe they have issues. They
haven't admitted to it. But it's interesting how I wonder who assesses them. Is it the Australian medical group that assesses them for their situation, or is it their own practicing doctor that assesses them? I wonder who does it, because if you've scored a double century for Victoria, as Bukowski did, and then all of a sudden you're playing for Australia, then you get seen away from the game due to mental issues. I don't know what happens in that process. Whether he seeks help out himself or his family, I don't know.
I think the cricketer himself must be saying that he speaks to a doctor and they say it's best to take a break. I think that's how logically it should happen.
Well, as long as they can recognise that they've got that problem, yes. How do you know when you've got mental issues when you're in your late teens? It's not always that common. You may not even understand that you've got it. It's a very complex situation, that's for sure. There's no doubt about that.
See, looking at this Vipul's comment, see, let's say India look okay. Vipul, you had kept it. Anyway, the point was that India will take a win on. So if they take a 200 lead, that means they need to at least bat complete the first session on day 5. I believe.
You would think because they're
Something
130,
very
they're
similar, like
139 behind. 139 behind, so they have to score 339 further runs. Is what we're saying. Yeah, that's going to take more than a day. That's for sure. That's for sure. It's But you know what? If they finish tomorrow, 100 and I don't know 20 or 30, maybe 40 in front, that's almost identical to Lord's, isn't it?
See, again, Norman, if they play tomorrow, I'm sure they will score 280, 290, or even 300. 280 minimum. This ground is like right now. Also, they see the run rate is it's not very. It's like at least 3. So if you're talking about a 90 overs being bowled tomorrow, you are easily looking at least 280. So
yeah, look, I'm not denying that. But let's wait. Let's get there first. Let's get there first.
Let's say wickets are not down again. As I told you, the field will go different. Scoring rate will actually improve if it comes to that. So
I'm
again,
pretty sure at the moment India's Kohli would be saying, and Pujara and obviously Shashi, let's get through the first session tomorrow. Let's get that 139 off the board without losing too many wickets. Then let's move to the next stage. Because you and I are going so far ahead. We do it because we're commentating, yes, but we are going too far ahead. If India sit there in the dressing room and say, "Oh, if we get 150 lead, we're going to win this," or they won't be thinking that at the moment. They can't afford. They've got to get rid of. They're still 139 runs behind. They're effectively 2 for minus 139. That's an awful position to be in. Although they've done so well today, they're still in an awful position, aren't they? They really are.
Because the wickets also what I've seen is they come either the end of the session or early of the session. So that's why, especially tomorrow morning, is the most important.
Well, if they survive the first hour or so, they're going to be in a great situation. They do have as you said, close to the end of the first session, beginning of the next session, where the wickets do come. You're right, but if they lose wickets early, they'll come all throughout the whole period. It won't be a matter of that. You know. I'm just worried if they. I'll be honest with you. I'm not predicting this, but I'm worried that Kohli and Pujara, or Kohli in particular, will go cheaply tomorrow. And what we've seen.
Let's hope then Rane backs up. But he has to. This is the stage to perform.
What we've seen from Kohli throughout the last, let's say, 12 months, is he does get to 40 on quite regularly. He's done it a few times, but he gets out.
Yeah, maybe 50, 60. That's it. Then.
Well, when was his last 50? When was Kohli's last 50?
I think he had made a 60s somewhat, right? I remember
this series? No, not this series.
Not this series, but just before.
Back in India, he might have scored 60.
In the WTC, he made a 60, if I'm not wrong.
I can't remember. I can't remember.
He made a 50 over there, I think, in the WTC.
Yeah, but I'm just.
But anyway, the point I'm trying to make, even this 40 for like 2 days of this 45 doesn't look that smooth like compared to like Pujara. You know, like Pujara's looked his 45 still looked very jittery to me.
I'm just putting together. So I'm just.
Which website do you use to get all these stats? Like you use which website?
I just put in a question rather than a website. Okay. So let's have a look here. So Kohli in 21 has had 8 matches, 12 innings, no hundreds. He scored 250s this year, as they're saying. His high score is 72. He scored 298 runs in the year. Okay. The previous year, he played only 3 times and only scored 116 runs. We go back to 19 when he last scored his century. So Kohli's only hit 350s in the last 2 years. He's only scored 414 runs in 2 years at Test level.
Okay, Corona last year you can negate a little bit because there was not much cricket actually played.
Well, you can, but then look at Root. He's done pretty well. Okay. So he has scored this year he scored 11, and then he scored a 72 against England. Then a 0, and then a 62. So he had 2 50s early on in the year. Okay.
That
Then
was in India.
Yeah, that was in India.
Okay.
They were both at Chidambaram Stadium. So he scored since then 27 duck, 44 13 duck, 42 27. So it's been a fair while since he scored a 50. Okay. So in this series, he has not scored a 50, a 44 and 42. He's on 45 at the moment. So I'm afraid to say he's got a bit of a hoodoo on him about that. He needs to get through that first X amount of overs tomorrow. He's got to get past not just 50, but he's got to get past the first, hour of play, and that'll be a big decision. I don't mind this. There's something called a little stat that I love the way this is pulled up. So yeah, he got a 72 and a 62. Both of those innings were second innings as well. They weren't first innings. Let's go through his first inning scores: 11, duck, 27, duck, 44, duck, 42, and 7. That's first innings batting scores, which I think is extremely important. If you're the captain and you're
that was the WTC score, if I'm not wrong. First inning or WTC, he made good runs.
44.
Yeah.
And 13.
So, just to Anuj Ho.
I wouldn't say they're good runs. It's not good enough.
Yeah, not for Kohli. That's very bad.
But I mean, a lot of the first innings, he's gotten twice to 40, and he's got duck and a 7. That's not what you would call a record of someone who. Look, Ricky Ponting was always a great gauge. The first innings of a first test, as captain, let's say in Australia or anywhere, he would go out and score a mighty century to set the platform. It's kind of his role as captain, as the best batter. And it's kind of Kohli's role, and he hasn't done that for quite a while, has he?
Ponting was some of what the Australian players I at least in the previous match I have seen, like the captaincy really actually improves the game. Whereas with the Indians are seeing it's the other way around. That the captaincy, the personal game, like if you see Dhoni, you say Ganguly, so from when they became captain, their personal performances somehow come down very much compared to previously.
Are you saying Kohli's is not good? Kohli's been captain for over 60 test matches. Over the last 60 test matches, Kohli has got some good scores.
Yeah, but it would be good if you can compare his before captain and after captain. And see for Ganguly also. I'm definitely sure there's a big difference.
Kohli has batted in a number of the test matches where he scored big when he was captain. So Kohli's record's pretty good. Not the last couple of years it hasn't been, yes. But before that, it was, it wasn't too bad at all. I think his last 2 years have brought him down, for sure. All right, how are you going time-wise? You've been almost on for 2 hours now, bro.
Yeah, I can take a rest.
All right, you take care. Thanks, bro. I really appreciate you being here.
Sure, Naman, take care.
Do you want to talk about something else? You want to talk about something else? Did you later as well?
I think I'll talk. I just want to say, like, hope I'll be in a cheerful mood tomorrow evening also, or tomorrow early morning.
Well, okay. If you're going to be here for the pre-show, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bro. Ciao.
Bye.
Yes, it certainly has been a good day for India, but they're far from home and hose. There's still some 139 runs in arrears. They've only lost 2 wickets, which is a really good position to be in. If they can get through the first session tomorrow and knock off 50, 60, 70 of those runs, and then they start to get more and more in a position. So it's going to take almost a session and a half to 2 sessions to get rid of the deficit of 354, which is a major milestone. And that means that India will not lose by an innings defeat, and they will do very well. At this point in time, they are in danger of that. So they've got to still go. They've got a long way to go. And with Kohli and Pujara, let's hope they get 150s and 100s respectively, and they really take hold of this match. And of course, Rahani's there, and Punt. Hopefully, Punt goes in later in the day when the ground's a bit more drier and perhaps the sun's out, and they're forcing a lead. That could be the moment when Punt and today to really force the issue and get 100 lead. Well, but before we even get near that, they have to survive the first session and get rid of the 139 that they are behind on. Significant situation indeed. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with the way this day has gone. I think you as viewers have thought the same. It certainly has been a great day for me, for India. But England still are in front by 139 runs. They're not. They wouldn't be lost just yet. They would be somewhat unhappy, but they would not be completely lost. They could easily turn around very quickly tomorrow and win the match in their first hour. If they get several wickets, I don't think it's going to happen. But India, still have to score 139 runs. And even for the 8 wickets they've got left in the tank, wicket could easily fall if things don't go right. I'm doubting that. I think the way that these two are batted today and the pitch itself will show that the ground is certainly going to be a batting-friendly wicket from now on. Yeah, it'll be a big deal if they win this one, I'll tell you. And it doesn't pose any risk if there is no help for Overcast. Just look at his stats. Yeah, that's true. He's effective. The Cloudison, as they call him, is relevant. But the man's still got 629 wickets, whatever he's got. He's still far and away the best fast bowler ever. We can't deny that. He certainly is worthy of that title. Let's have a look. We're going to try and find. It's interesting to get all these facts up about the players. And Kohli, his batting performance today is certainly good. Let's just have a little look. Yeah, there's a picture there of Pujara and Kohli. Certainly looks good. They're in very good position. Those two, they're very, very happy. Kohli certainly is somebody who provides a certain amount of positivity. Craig Overton media. Well, there we are. When was it? It was 3:45. Okay. So they've had Craig Overton out at the press conference, and that was about an hour ago. And of course, I should not forget yesterday, or what's now yesterday, just yesterday, was Don Bradman's 113th birthday, which, happy birthday, Don Bradman, born in 1908 on the 27th of August, which was yesterday. That's quite an impressive innings if he was still alive, but he's not. But I don't think that this takes away from the fact that the man was a legend and always will be a legend, and someone we should all revere what he has done for Test cricket and for all forms of cricket. So Overton is the one talking today. It's interesting. I don't know whether we've got the likes of, let's see. Overton was only on for about 5 minutes, so he didn't have a very long chat at all, which is interesting. Not the longest of press conferences. I guess there wasn't a lot to talk about. The reality is that, well played is the comment I'm seeing a lot being said, and that's very good. This is certainly a long way to go for the match to be, conclusive. India could still lose by an innings if they don't watch it. They're still going to get 139 runs. They're still going to apply themselves tomorrow. They could not lose early wickets and perform in a manner where they can certainly, be able to command their position. Indeed, they need to be able to do that. They're not yet there. So Craig Overton was the person who was on the media conference. I wouldn't mind hearing what he's got to say. Craig Overton, he bowled pretty well. He took the important wicket there of Rahul early on with a great catch by Bairstow. So Craig Overton, who certainly even produced with the bat. He's had a pretty good test match. Worthy selection. I do think Sakib Mahmood's a future replacement for the likes of an Anderson. We'll wait and see what that happens, if and when that happens. So Craig Overton, what do you think of his bowling today, guys? I thought he was pretty impressive. I think he was very, very impressive, actually. He had a lot of guts in the way he played. Bear with me a sec, guys. I'm just putting up the performance of that press conference. It's important for me to talk about press conferences almost immediately because the ECB give us a lot of coverage. India tend to control their the BCCI, that is, control their press conferences and their releases more. They strike out people for overusing it because obviously there's an abuse of it. So yeah, it's a sad state. We shouldn't be in that situation. They should have more respect about who gets them and who passes them on. That is the press conference and the like, because they're important piece of information for us all to see. We should be, as media, be able to circulate them, I think. So that's give me a second, guys. So it was an India fight back for sure. So to just get this done. It's important, guys, that I get this done because this provides me with some, media coverage, and we need to get this done. So I'm actually uploading as we speak. I'm a one-man band, guys. I do it all myself. What do I want to use there? So Team India. Craig Overton. I don't think Craig Overton's got much of a following, so maybe we should be England. Yeah, so it's an impressive day of cricket, guys. There's no doubt about that. India should be very proud of themselves, but they haven't completed their efforts just yet. They've still got some way to go, and that's the key. They've got to make sure they get that over that stage tomorrow morning, which is going to be crucial indeed. It is impressive to see Pujara not out 91. It was something we probably all didn't expect, but he's done it. So hats off to him. Hats off to him. He's an incredible stalwart for India. He'll go down in history, one of the most important batsmen. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that at all. He's certainly proven to me that he's a hard one to get. We've had a lot of issues with him over the years. So, all right. So it's going to. All right. So yes, it's been a great day for Livingston. Is an amazing form. Yes, Harsh Gupta, he certainly is. In fact, is he considered a test player? That's the thing. What's my predictions tomorrow? Get through the first session, not lose any wickets, get rid of that 139 score and be 100 in front, at least 100 in front. That means India will have to score 239 tomorrow. They've scored, 215 today. So that's a big ask tomorrow. Big ask to score 239 tomorrow and be 100 in front. That would be what I'd like to see happen. Thank you too. Best averages for paces and tests this turn, minimum 50 over. Holder, Cummins, Anderson, and Brumlow. Well, that's pretty much what you would expect. They've been probably the four of the standout bowlers. Chances of rain? I don't think so. I don't believe there's any chance of rain there, guys. I think that's not likely to happen. I mean, there was a bit of a spit here today. There was certainly a bit of a spit, if that's a term. A bit of a spit, as I'll call it. It didn't rain hard at all, to be honest with you. So, Craig Overton. I wouldn't have picked him. I would have had Sakib Mahmood. But having said that, though, Overton's got 32 runs when he batted and also has taken wickets. The crucial wicket of, at the time of Rahul. So there's nothing to be said, that A lot of positives there. England have got some depth in their bowling. Let's be honest, they haven't got the likes of Broad, Stokes, Wood, all out. Amazing. Chris Wokes as well. And they're able to bring in these blokes like Overton, obviously. Ollie Robinson certainly cemented his spot now. The likes of Sakim Mahmood coming through. Ollie Stone, who's also injured, is another one that they've got there. They've got quite a few good bowlers. England have got producing a lot more bowlers than certainly Australia. India are certainly producing a lot as well, and India are producing a hell of a lot of batsmen. So there's a lot of positives to be taken by this, indeed. Indeed. So we've got something like, let's have a look here. So 694 videos has come through now, guys. I put through 694 in about a year. That's not a year, about 8 months. And some out of those, you've got, there's a lot of them are pre-recorded, but 2/3 are pre-recorded, and the other third is me doing these live. So 694 videos, 461 that are recorded, including media conferences and my street talks and my paper reviews and some of the interviews about specific issues that have happened in cricket. And then obviously 233 live. I've had a lot of interviews as well with the likes of Doug Walters, Jeff Thompson, Jim Maxwell, who's been on the show yesterday as well. Did you see that? The last hour of yesterday's live, in the pre-show, Jim Maxwell spent an hour with me, or 45 minutes with me, which I'm very happy about. So India fight back. That would be the way that I would describe today. But they fought back, but they haven't quite. It's funny, they fought back so well, but they're still 139 runs behind, and they can still lose out by an innings. So they've made it look a lot better. They certainly have. Yeah, the broadcast show Bradman's Cricket Museum, down at Barrel. The Bradman House, which is at 52 Shepherd Street, which is in Barrel, is amazing to see. The surrounds. Come to Australia, I'll give you a tour of the place. I love it. I can give you a very personalised tour. Having had a lot of experience, I know a lot about the area and very intimately knowledgeable about the whole area. So, Kid, okay, it was like do or die for Story from Tara. It was, and he didn't die. He did. He was a doer. Domestic draw, it will be with a win for them. Yeah. Can India win with a 50? Yes, they certainly. Guru Kamura, I would argue that 150 could be enough. If it's down to 2 sessions, it's going to be tough. There is a good Indian cricket content channel. Cricket. No, I haven't. Okay. We've done pretty well there, guys. It's certainly worth having a look at. So. Impressive. I mean, Pujara has to be deemed to be impressive. Pujara, masterclass instant survival. That's no doubt. There was a survival aspect to the way he batted well. Good night, Harjaz Bhutani. I'm glad you came. He said hello and good night. That was pretty good. How about getting Akash Chopra on the show someday? Good friend of mine. When he's in Australia, I pick him up down here at Coogee. We go for a juice, have a good chat before the match. He's a very nice, very pleasant man. Rowards out with a mistake from a career point of view, and it was then very, very far from England to score. Okay. I think that Rohit Sharma should be knocked. What's your prediction if the match goes to the 5th day, 3rd session? Oh, Jesus. India will be in a great position to go for it. If they win this match, it'll be huge, huge, huge. I haven't interviewed and recorded on my channel, no, but I will do that in the future, don't worry. So you have to argue Kohli and Sharma both contributed. Kohli and Sharma have contributed. They've got 45 and 59. That's, nothing wrong with that at all, is it, guys? It's pretty good. Certainly. So go and look at the Craig Overton video as well. It's only about 5 minutes long. It's a straight to the point discussion. I'm sure he's got a lot to say. He's new to the side again. He's been around for a few test matches, but he'd be very happy with his performance. Certainly. So there you go. It's been a great day, guys. Really, really good day. Rowett's dismissal was fair. Umpire ruled not out, and DRS showed wickets hitting. That's unfortunate. Norman see a doctor. Why am I seeing a doctor? Why is everyone pointing guns at Ishant Sharma? Well, he hasn't bowled well. He's a great bowler overall, but he hasn't bowled well. It has to be considered. If they're going to bring Ashwin into the side, they have to pick a bowler to leave out. I like Ian Ward as host. He asks quite pertinent questions, Buckle Duddy. He does. He's a good host. It's the idea of a host is to steer the questions. It's very true. Am I okay, Buckle Duddy? I have my moments when I'm eating away or whatever, but I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm okay. Well, I've been on for 2 hours, guys. Need to give me some good questions to keep me going. It's 5:21 in the morning. I'm very keen to, get cracking with the whole thing. Norman feeling too itchy. Yeah, I've got a sore shoulder and it's playing up, and I'm just having to a bit of an itchy face. It's late at night. Yeah, why he should go to the doctor? That's right. Why should I go to the doctor? Exactly. Why should I go to the doctor? Because I've got this. It's like a bit of a shoulder. It's not serious. It's just a bit, splooshed out. I've been sitting in the one spot for 2 hours. It gets a bit uncomfortable. All right. I'll come early tomorrow. Don't worry. Ponting never won a test match in India as a captain, even when Australia won the series of 2004. He played the last test match, Australia lost one. No, it's a hard place to come and win, I'll tell you. Yeah, it has been, VJ. It has been a very long stream. Because you're feeling a bit itchy. It's not itchiness. It's there's a bit of a thing about my shoulder, and I've got a bit of a thing that's just needs to be massaged, that's all. So that's nothing serious. It's like a shoulder. All right. What is that, 11 Gods? And this is a book by Bore Majumdar. He wrote about the on and off field story of cricket in India and beyond. Surab Ganguly gave the forward, and it's actually written by Bore Majumdar, who's been a guest on my show. Jimmy Maxwell was on yesterday, as you know. Are there any cricket streams watch-alongs that you recommend? There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people that are out there that are good. Depends who you want. We'll talk about that more in detail. I'll try to bring some of those guys on to talk to. There's plenty. Kochnik is hard to pronounce. Kochnik, Gaurav Kumar, Kochanek. It actually is I was born in Australia, but my parentage is German. But the name, my father's derivation, he must have had a background where he was in Prussia, which is now even Poland. And in Polish, the name Kochanek means lover. They pronounce it Kochanek. I'd say Kochnek, but it means lover. You're in Gigolo, would you believe? It's hilarious. But I'm not Polish. I'm Australian, but my parents are German. Ever playing 11 is like, every player is like gods for 1 point. It is. Yeah, that is true. Absolutely. 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 About the Java, which happened today in the racist comments against Siraj, why is EC not taking the strict? Please answer. I'm not sure what incident we're talking about specifically, though, because Siraj was on the field only a split second. What was it, the other day? Or I don't remember that incident. And I'm sure any matter like that's been taken up. Don't worry. Don't you worry. There's no fear that it's been taken up. No fear at all. Let's look here. Okay. All right, so I'm not sure what that is about, Satvi Bulgaria. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about that. Maybe you can tell me about it, because I don't know anything about it. When did it actually happen? What stage of the match did it happen? I don't remember it at all. Have you got relatives back in Germany? I still do, yes. I have. Now, in fact, my uncle passed away not long ago. His wife's still alive. I've got some cousins here. Thank you very much, Entrepreneur. I appreciate that. Well, then you get the word out by view, like, and sharing my posts. Go to my LinkedIn and my Facebook page, which is my name. My non-coach is my Instagram, my Twitter. I also have this YouTube channel, Eyes on Cricket. You can see it there on my shirt and on my hat. Please subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button. If you're watching now, you should be subscribing. Please subscribe, and then notify yourself by hitting the notification button. There you go. Then they'll be on deck. I have 19,267 at last count, which is, I'm very proud of that. But let's get it over 20. We're at 19,268 now. Someone else has picked up. Thank you. Were you surprised by the way Pujara played that attacking way? Because I was surprised the way he played. He was very positive, and he had to be, and he did it very well. Pujara certainly was more aggressive, no doubt. Tough task ahead there, Sadiq Majumdar. What's the same as Boro's name? Pujara and Kohli showing some sign of fight. A big mistake with the 12th tomorrow. If Indians win the first two sessions, Lords, best maybe repeat it. It's absolutely well summarised. It's very much possible. They get through the first two sessions and into the third, and they brought 100 and so in front. Leads to a great fifth day. Wow, no, when you were right, the pitch became flat and our batters showed some intent and grit. Thank you, Mayor Mora. I didn't think they would fight back. I didn't think they would go that cheaply. It's still not over yet. They still haven't done their job fully yet. They've got 139 to get rid of. Another day, it's going to be very hard. They could fall apart tomorrow, and they could be all out very quickly. Let's hope not. Tell me something about your cricket journey of your life. How you got inclined towards cricket? Well, I was always a cricketer when I was younger. I played a lot of cricket, but I also was surrounded. I was very close to cricketing players. I grew up with a lot of them become very close friends. Then my ex-wife, my wife at the time, was very close to the Sri Lankan history of players, namely the Arjuna Tonga and his group, and I got to know them very well. I came very close to Sri Lankan cricket, very, very close to Sri Lankan cricket, and became part of it. I ended up, and as I still do, manage female cricketers, help them out in their lives. And then I became involved with media about 15 years ago, predominantly with the subcontinent, and I grew from there. And my relation to India has strengthened in the last 4 years ago. I had a show called Through the Eyes of a Cricketer. Through the Eyes of a Cricketer was a show I had on TV Arcana, Arcana. I had some 30 episodes there, and I interviewed a lot of famous cricketers, including Jimmy Maxwell. And then I knew Bora Majumdar very well as the likes of Debasha Sen, and we got to know each other last November. Well, we've known each other for 15 years, but last November they needed me to help out with their broadcast in Australia because Indian media couldn't come out. I spent time in November covering the test. Then several channels took me on. And by the end of the summer, I had a YouTube channel, and here it is. And now, 7 or 8 months later, I've got some close to 20,000 subscribers, so I'm pretty happy. Both teams have bowled the wrong length in the sets of bowling. Too short, too wide. Will there be a crowd of upcoming matches? That's a good question. At this stage in Sydney, it's unlikely. Day 4 is, we'll decide. First hour, yes, we'll decide the result. Or the first couple of hours, yep. What's with your shoulder? Have you been bowling in the next of late? No, it's just I've got this lumpiness on my shoulder. I'm just massaging it out. It's just it must be left arm. So I'm a right arm bowler. So part of the trajectory. There you go. All right, guys. You're a one-man army streaming hard. Yeah, I have been, and it's been a long session. So, guys, I think that's a good point. It's 5:30 in the morning. I think I've done enough today. So, guys, please view, like, and share the post. Subscribe. Go to my channel and subscribe. If you people that are watching now haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, view, like, and share on WhatsApp, share in that Facebook Messenger, also share through your email services, a word of mouth, get the message out there. I really appreciate it, guys. I think I've had enough, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. So last one, look at for a dermatologist. I will. Ashwin should come in place of Jadeja in the second test. Ashwin will come in place of probably Ishan Sharma, I would say, rather than Jadeja. That's my thoughts. All right, guys. Sleep now, Norman. I will. Thank you, guys. Talk to you tomorrow morning. I'll send a pre-show out. I watched the Craig Overton video, which is out there now. Go straight to his media conference after this. All right? Do me that favor. Okay. Have you considered enabling the comments to subscribe only for a few minutes when some key guests are on? I'll try that. Good idea. But a chiropractor to encourage people to subscribe. I mean, fourth test, sorry. Okay. No worries, guys. Take care. In fact, I have more people viewing now. What is this? All right. We'll talk tomorrow, guys. I have a pre-show from about 9 a.m., which is about 1:30 p.m. Indian time, 9 a.m. in England time, and some 6 p.m. Australian time. So please do follow and do subscribe. And I will see a chiropractor, dermatologist. Maybe need to see one of those too. My skin. I had a few skin cancers on my ankle, actually. My ankle, my dog found them. He was licking me there. I said, what the hell is this? Hello, sir. Been a bit late. I was just about to leave rather than stay. All right, guys. That's enough. I'll see you tomorrow.